Okay. Before I begin the city council meeting, I would like to inform members of the public that we have a language interpreter present at the meeting. If anyone would like simultaneous interpretation, please come forward to receive a headset. I would like to call to order the regular city council meeting. The time is now 6:34 p.m. City Clerk Duarte, will you please take roll?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Frometa,
Present.
Councilmember LaPlante,
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Alvarez,
Present.
and Mayor Pacheco.
Present. I would now like to have Councilmember Frometa do the invocation for us.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. If we can please stand. Let's go ahead and bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight giving you thanks for our lives, giving you thanks for our city, Lord. Even in trying times, you are with us, and we thank you. We thank you for our health, and we thank you, Lord, for the people that keep us safe, our police and our fire departments. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to come together as a council to conduct the business affairs of the people of Downey. We pray for unity and we pray for wisdom as we conduct business tonight. And we pray for the rest of the residents in this city. May you continue to prosper the city of Downey and continue to keep us safe. In your name we pray. Amen.
I would now like to invite up Michael Calvert, Executive Director of the Downey Chamber of Commerce. He will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
If I could have everybody put their hand over their heart, please. Ready to begin?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now is the time for City Council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, and conference meeting reports. I will start at my far left with Councilmember Trujillo.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to your council meeting. First and foremost, I'm sure many of you heard of the tragedy that happened in our city yesterday. I want to send my condolences to the family of Officer Cardiel Solorio and to the city of Monterey Park. And I want to personally thank our police agency, Downey PD, for the excellent work they're doing so far in keeping the public updated, and Godspeed on that investigation. The last 2 weeks since our council meeting, been a little busy. I had an opportunity to attend the FatherCon event at the Look Movie Theater, which focused on human trafficking. I also had a chance to attend the swearing in of the new president of the League of California Cities LA Division. Was also present during the naming the inscription of the Veterans Memorial of Lance Corporal Joshua Whittle. It's a beautiful memorial dedicated to the men and women. That's right outside the front of City Hall. If you have a moment, I invite you to come and pay your respects at the memorial. Congratulations to the city and our police department on putting on our annual National Night Out. It was well attended, well organized, and always a good event for the community. I also had a chance to sit as a member of the Homeless Subcommittee. We met with the representative from Janice Hahn's office. As you know, homeless issue is one of the top priorities for us here in our city, trying to get services to that population. And we were updated on the new facility that the supervisor is going to develop which is next to Rancho Los Amigos. There's not many, there's no residential homes that are within, I believe, at least 1,000 feet from the facility. A couple of items that I would like the staff to agendize and to report on. First and foremost, our Rose Float Association, as many of us know, it's an award-winning Rose Float, a big feather in our hat here in our city. And their fundraising efforts in the last 2 years have been deeply hindered by the pandemic. So I would like to see if we can assist them, perhaps this year, because they're starting to prepare for this year's entry. So if we could bring that back sooner rather than later to see how we can assist the Rose Float, if it's something the council wishes to do. We have our Pride celebration this weekend. It's a 2-day event, Friday downtown, Downey from 5 to 10, and Saturday at Furman Park. Everyone's invited for this celebration of inclusivity and acceptance in our city. A couple of more items that I would like the staff to look into is I understand that some cities are adopting tobacco retail licensing ordinances. I would like to see if it's something that we would consider adopting. I understand that it's a tax on tobacco products, maybe like the vape products or whatnot. So I'd like some information presented to us on what these ordinances look like for us to consider adopting one. I would also like the staff to look into, apparently when you open a small business, they have to come up with a certain number of parking spots on their locations, and that number is determined by usable square footage inside the location, the business. Some business owners have told me that some cities are adopting what they call front of the house ordinances, so that where the employees, for example, are working or where the walk-in coolers are situated is not counted as usable square footage for the calculation of parking spaces. So I would like that item to be presented to us at some point for consideration of modification of the ordinance. And that concludes my comments. Before that, I do want to recognize my Public Works Commissioner, Alfredo Tovar. Welcome, sir. And I'm sure we're going to recognize him, but our resident champion, Mr. Mares, welcome. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Also, that ordinance regarding flavored tobacco is something that Councilmember Ashton, or then Mayor Pro Tem Ashton, and I were working on. So I'm sure we could probably find some information as to where we left off. Next up, we have Councilmember Fermetta.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to be back here again. For those of you in attendance and for those of you watching via Zoom, I was not able to join you last time as I had tested positive for COVID-19. Up until then, I thought I was a champion. I had not gotten sick in 2.5 years and vaccinated and boosted. But thankfully, I fully recovered. I did not step foot outside my house until I tested negative. But I'm happy to be back. I did miss quite a few activities throughout our city because I was in isolation, and I was happy to return to my normal activities. As I say, engaged communities are strong communities. Councilmember Trujillo did mention several activities we had, and those represent the strength of Downey. Paying homage to an individual that lost his life serving his country, Officer Whittle. That was really important to us, and finally having his name engraved in our Veterans Memorial was important to us. I did participate in National Night Out with the rest of my colleagues. That was a week ago tonight, and it was a really well-attended event. It is always such a joy to see you, our residents, come out with your families and really interact with our police, with our fire, see the canine demonstrations and the fire department demonstration as well. We had members of our CERT group as well and many other organizations. We have both Kiwanis in attendance as well as many others. So I thank you again for those of you that attended. I also want to extend my deepest condolences and my heartfelt prayers to the family of Officer Solario from Monterey Park that lost his life in that tragic, senseless act here in our city. I do want to extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to Captain Lochner for carrying on the updates and the press conferences yesterday and today. Thank you. I know the investigation continues, but again, our thoughts and prayers continue with the Monterey Park Police Department during this difficult time. This weekend, I will be attending the ICA Summer Seminar in San Diego. I will not be attending the Pride festivities, but I will certainly be here in spirit with all of you. And I do want to also, as a resident of this city for over 34 years, one of the things that has been brought to our attention, and my council colleague just mentioned it a few moments ago, is our Rose Float Association. This organization has been in Downey since 1952. They have been building floats. Since then, these are award-winning floats. People around the globe see the Rose Parade every January 1st. And if you are a proud Downey resident, like all of us here, we are always looking forward to seeing that Downey Rose Float. For all of our children from middle school through high school that have had to put in countless volunteer hours, these floats are put together entirely by volunteers. And this is entirely a self-funded float. It costs anywhere between $60,000 to $85,000 to put together this float. And again, as the 10th largest city of Los Angeles, and as a city that whose motto is Future Unlimited, it really is time for us to reconsider looking at where we are with the support for this organization. And I too would like to ask to agendize at the next council meeting having some financial support for the Rose Float. The last 2 years have been really detrimental to their fundraising efforts because there have been no public gatherings, and those $60,000 to $85,000 that they fund have been greatly diminished. By that, we are not asking for the entire funding, but I am making the public aware that it is really an opportunity for our city to step up. Many of the cities that participate in the Rose Float Parade do fund their floats, at least a portion of it. And I think we as a city should consider that as well. There's other things that are also I would like the staff to look into. And again, I need to have an update. I really do not want to see this continue for several months. I know we've asked for a speeding ordinance. I think there's been several weeks now. Since it's been probably a year and a half, we've been discussing a historical preservation ordinance. I need to have an update on that in the next couple of weeks, please. We've also been discussing a drone ordinance. We understand flying drones is not illegal, but when people use it to interfere with the privacy of people's homes, it becomes an issue. And as council members, as colleagues, we need to protect our residents. And I do want to find out where we are with that ordinance. I don't want to be discussing this at the end of the year. two of the things I need staff to look into is we need to coordinate, reach out with Caltrans. We understand there are some issues with under the freeway in riverbed cleanups that need to occur. We have had several residents along the riverbed, not just District 4, but along the riverbed, reach out to us complaining about excessive debris, excessive trash being thrown there. And so it's not just a Downey issue. We need to reach out to Caltrans and coordinate some cleanups. Last but not least, this is something that really is concerning to me. And that is because during COVID, we embarked on a very ambitious project. And again, none of us could have expected what COVID did, but our 4 fire stations went through a complete redevelopment. They were closed at different times, and over the last several months, Fire Station 4, which is in the district that I represent, has been closed because of an electrical fire. Now, my residents in District 4 have been without a fire station, and we need to move as fast as we can. I know the wheels of government don't turn as quickly as we want them to be, but we need to make sure that this fire station is back up and running, not in a year, not in 8 months, not in 9 months. It's been closed already for several months, and we need to do everything we can. There may be some other projects that take a back seat, but this is an issue of public safety. And when a fire station is closed, that means getting to a particular residence, minutes are of the essence. And I need us to move as quickly as we can. I know there is a process for getting an RFP and for getting contractors, et cetera, et cetera. But when it comes to public safety, we need to take a look at this as a priority. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So regarding Caltrans, I actually have some good news about that. I received information about a Caltrans ambassador. I sent it over, just emailed it over to our city manager, so he has that information, but there's a point of contact that we can have. And I'm not sure, maybe staff knew, but this is just something that I recently found out, that there is a Caltrans ambassador. So I've sent it over to our city manager, and hopefully that could be the person of contact that we have. Next up, we have Councilmember LaPlante.
Thank you. I think Ms. Frometta probably had a better Monday of that week than I did. I was going to St. Louis, and they had 8.5 inches of rain in 8 hours, which is the most in 148 years of record keeping. If you want travel nightmares, I can tell you about them. I think I might have even traded COVID, but I haven't had it yet. I think I'm the holdout. Regarding the Rose Float, they get a whole extra day this year because the parade will be on January 2nd. Does that help? No. Okay. But I do appreciate the fact that Downey is one of, I believe, 6 cities that has a self-done Rose Float, and they don't take those in anymore. We, along with South Pasadena, Duarte, City of Hope, and a couple others, we're grandfathered in. We get to stay as long as we have a float. We stop having a float, we're never getting back. So I think that's an important thing we need to realize, that say, oh, well, we'll just drop out for a few years, and it doesn't work that way with the Road Float Association. They have a list of hundreds of companies that will spend real big money. I want to thank Mr. Tacona, our Director of Parks and Rec, and City Manager, for giving me a tour of what is currently leased by the YMCA and used to be part of the Art Museum. I just wanted to get a handle on what the space even looked like. I think I may have seen it 50-something years ago, and it looked way different. but I did have a tour of that just so we know what we're talking about when we start talking about that facility. I attended also the League of California Cities meeting, the Veterans Memorial dedication, the National Night Out. I took our city manager, Mr. Scott, over and introduced him to the school district and the school board this evening. He got to have dinner, but didn't eat their dinner. I guess he decided our dinner would be better. But it was very nice that he was able to meet our school board members and school district staff, and he'll be working with them for a number of months. And so I think that'll continue to be a benefit to both the city and the school district. And I'd just like to commend our police department and thank Captain Loeffner for what has obviously been a very tough 24 hours. I'm not even sure why you're sitting there and not at home trying to get some sleep, because I doubt if you've gotten any. And if we can, I know our agenda was obviously printed up quite a while ago, but if we can add the Monterey Park Police Officer, Gardiel Solorio, to the adjournment tonight, I'd appreciate that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mayor Pro Tem Alvarez.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to City Council meetings. And Mayor, I don't have no comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, welcome everyone to our City Council meeting. I've already introduced our Executive Director of the Downey Chamber of Commerce, Michael Calvert. Hello, Michael. Thank you for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. But in addition, we also have the President of the Downey Chamber of Commerce, Carmen Gonzalez. So I wanted to thank and acknowledge her as well. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. And I know Councilmember Trujillo already acknowledged and thanked his Commissioner, Alfred. Let's give him a round of applause. So I also wanted to send my condolences to the family of the officer from Monterey Park who was fatally shot in our city. Captain Lochner, thank you so much for the updates you provided us, but also for attending all the press conferences. And thank you also to our Downey police officers. I know these were difficult times, and I know our officers have been acting with professionalism and have been doing their duties. I did want to, I know our city manager sent us an email just thanking, there was a city manager from Monterey Park thanking our officers for their professionalism. So thank you very much. It's been tough times, so thank you. Also, I attended the unveiling of the memorial ceremony for Lance Corporal Joshua Whittle. A little bit about him. He was 20 years old when he was killed while serving in Afghanistan. He grew up in Downey and attended Warren High School. This was a dedication that is a long time coming, and so I'm glad that we were finally able to do so last week. And I also attended National Night Out, always a great event. It's always nice to see the community come out. We had a canine demonstration along with a demonstration from Downey Fire. And so I want to thank both our Downey Police and Fire for participation in this great event, this great community event. It's always held on a yearly basis on the first Tuesday of August, and it's an event being held throughout the nation. Also, I attended Jerry Wetstein's services last Saturday. Jerry was a member of the Downey Kiwanis Club and also the president of the Kiwanis Foundation. And it was because of his efforts that we were able to build a playground over at Furman Park. It's a Kiwanis playground. And what I would like to see if we can have a plaque, a dedication plaque in his memory over at that park in honor of this great man who did so much for our city. Not only did he donate from the foundation for different projects at Downey Unified School District, He also was a contributor with Downey Police Shop with a Cop. And so I just want to make sure that his memory and legacy live on at this playground, especially since he has given so much and he lived here in Downey. And so I'd like to see if we can get that done. And that concludes my comments. So I'm going to go down for presentations. Impact Award. And this award is given to individuals who have made an impact here within the city of Downey. The impact could be community service projects, but the impact can also be within their professional career. And so this person has made an impact within the boxing world, and he is a Downey resident. In fact, he is my neighbor. He lives down the street from me. And so it is with great pleasure to bring up Abner Mares. So I just want to share a funny story. When I first met Abner, I met him at a restaurant that he owned in the city of Bell Gardens. And I remember I had told him, oh, I live in Downey. And he said, oh, I live in Downey too. And I asked him where. And he said, oh, I live on the same street as the mayor does. And I said, oh, maybe he means Rick Rodriguez, who still lives in District 3. And I said, oh, what's the mayor's name? And I think he said, oh, Blanca Pacheco. And then I looked at him and said, well, that's me. So it is really with great pleasure to award Abner with this Impact Award. Abner is a Mexican-American professional boxer who is also a boxing analyst and commentator for Showtime. He was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, which is one of our sister cities, and he grew up in Hawaiian Gardens. And like I mentioned, currently he lives here in the city of Downey, along with his beautiful wife who's in the back. So I just want to say hi. But Abner has held multiple world championships in 3 weight classes, including the IBF Bantamweight title from 2011 to 2012. The WBC Super Bantamweight title from 2012 to 2013, the WBC Featherweight title in 2013, and the WBA Featherweight title from 2016 to 2018. As an amateur boxer, Mares won numerous medals at international tournaments while representing Mexico. As mentioned, he grew up in Hawaiian Gardens, and we're excited that he is now living here in the city of Downey. And so I want to provide him with this Mayor's Impact Award for his impact here in the city of Downey as a professional boxer, but also as an inspiration for our young boys who one day want to be boxers. He's an American dream for here in our country, but more specifically here for the city of Downey. And I did want to acknowledge that he will have a fight that's coming up. It's going to be held on September 4th, and it will be at the Crypto.com arena. So we want to wish you much success. We know you're going to do well, and we want you to work hard and make Downey proud.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to say a couple words?
Of course. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Well, thank you so much for the presentation, for the award that's coming. As a Downey resident, I am really honored to be receiving this. She mentioned you used to live in Hawaiian Gardens. I reside here in the city of Downey for a little bit over 10 years now. And it is with great honor to receive this, she mentioned, because I feel like, what I do is so much more than just, get inside the ring and beat each other up. It's way more than that. It's the sacrifice, the hard work, the dedication that we put in to a sport to become someone in life, which I have with the graces of God, my parents, my wife's support. I've accomplished, like she mentioned, 4 world titles in 3 weight classes. Also, she forgot to mention I was an ex-Olympian in 2004, Athens, Greece, and now work as a commentator for Showtime Boxing. Not an easy job to get, being a Hispanic, speaking both languages. Really difficult job to get, and it's an honor to be representing this city. Coming up September 4th as well. Speaking about adversity, I've been out for 4 years due to an eye injury. That is why you see me wearing my sunglasses a lot. It's not because I think I'm cool. I need them a bit. But I am coming back September 4th. And the reason I am coming back, and like I've been saying a lot, it's not for the fame. It's not for the money. It's really just to make a statement that I do want to go out on my own terms, on my shield, and to demonstrate that anything is possible, and that I will be coming back after 4 years, becoming victorious once again, and then I can retire and live my beautiful life. Thank you so much. Thank you, City of Downey. Appreciate you.
Hopefully, he mentions Downey when he wins.
Of course.
Good luck, Abner.
I'll just settle for you giving us a plug on Showtime.
And for our next presentation, I would like to invite up the Executive Director of Celico, Yolanda Castro.
I think I should turn it around. Yeah, we're gonna turn it around.
Oops. Thank you. It's nice to see you. See you. Yeah.
It's crooked.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor Pacheco, council members, and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening and share with you a little information about the Southeast Los Angeles County Workforce Development Board, also known as the Celico WIB. As mentioned, my name is Yolanda Castro, and I currently serve the City of Downey as the Executive Director of the Celico Workforce Development Board. With me tonight, I have a few key staff members, if they'll please stand. Don't be shy. These are members of my leadership team who are available to address any questions, who are committed to assisting both you and your residents in any workforce issues, whether they're a business or a job seeker. So they're the backbone to our organization. So thank you for being here this evening, team. Thank you. In addition to my presentation, I have a packet that we've left on your chair or on your desk there, and we also have packets for any residents in the audience with information about our organization. So before I get started on the presentation, I'd like to share a brief video that will give you some insight to what is a workforce development board.
It's a formal group of community leaders serving a city, a county, or a region that identifies the needs of the local job market, oversees one-stop career centers, and works to coordinate and align workforce development initiatives in their area. Workforce development boards with membership from business, local elected officials, labor, economic development, educators, and community leaders foster high-growth career opportunities to meet the needs of their regional economy. This system exists to help businesses find qualified workers to meet their present and future workforce needs and help workers acquire skills for employment opportunities. A workforce development board is the link between a region's workforce talent and its employer skill needs. They convene industry and their workforce and education partners in real time to impact the skilling and reskilling of America's workforce and put people back to work in career pathways that provide self-sufficiency. Together, this diverse group of leaders helps their community target recruitment opportunities, identify labor market trends, partner on economic development investments, and create resources to benefit all members of the community. Every workforce development board has a plan that establishes funding priorities for their area focused on a broad range of worker issues that consider wages, job mobility, access, and equity. By analyzing data and working with local businesses, workforce boards understand what skills are most in demand and foster the necessary training and credential programs for their region. Workforce boards also use outcome data to advise employers, policymakers, and communities about what approaches are successful. So without your local workforce development boards, local businesses, educational institutions, and other community stakeholders would not have a strong voice to represent the unique workforce needs of your community. So what is a workforce development board? It is a key link to your community's future.
Thank you. So throughout the United States, there are 593 workforce development boards. There are 45 workforce development boards in California and 7 workforce boards in the LA region. You have the Foothill Consortium, you have the Los Angeles City Workforce Board, Pacific Gateway, which is Long Beach, the South Bay Workforce Development Board, LA County and Verdugo Workforce Boards. And the Celica WIB is a workforce board assigned to serve your area. We are your workforce board. The Celica WIB was established in 1983 under a joint powers agreement among, at that time, 7 cities, the cities of Artesia, Bellflower, Cerritos, Downey, Hawaiian Gardens, Lakewood, and Norwalk. And in 2020, we updated the joint powers agreement to add the city of Paramount. We are established to address the workforce needs of these 8 cities, and we do this with pride and commitment to ensure that job seekers are connecting to employers, and employers are finding the workforce that they need to meet their goals. As a workforce development board, I work with 2 boards. These are the governing elements that set the policies and provide the day-to-day oversight to what we do on a day-to-day basis. The policy board represents a local official from each of our 8 cities. The policy board sets the policy by which the board will operate. The policy board also provides final approval on all members assigned to serve on the workforce board. The workforce board consists of local businesses, labor, education, nonprofits, the Unemployment Development Department, Economic Development, and the Department of Rehabilitation. Our board has 27 seats, and 23 of those seats are currently filled. The job training partnership, or the joint powers agreement that the 8 cities signed and agreed, gave a commitment to assign a council member to serve on our policy board. I'd like to inform you that you have been well served by Mayor Pacheco for the last 4 years as a policy member of our board. In addition, you send 2 business representatives. Christina Salcido Garcia with Kaiser was appointed by the council to serve on our board representing business, along with Vijay Patel as a member of the local chamber was appointed to the board in 2016. So your voice has been heard through our board members. Just to give you a little bit of background on the services, throughout our 8 cities, we represent 516,000 residents. Downey's population represents 22% of the service area. Job seekers who are looking for assistance come to a job center we call the America Job Center of California. The center is located in Cerritos, but as a result of the pandemic, all of our services are also available virtually. So an individual doesn't need to walk into our center. They can access our services. They can get enrolled. They can attend training. They can attend workshops. Everything is offered on a hybrid model, both in person or through virtual services. Of the total residents who have visited our center, 9% represent Downey residents. Following my presentation to you tonight, I'm hoping to connect with your staff, your public works, your city manager, and your community development staff to learn about ways that we can bridge your residents to our services and increase that percentage. We'd like to see more residents accessing our services. As a job seeker, they can come into our America Job Center and find the resources they need. There's workshops, there's resume development, there's interviewing skills. We can assist with paid work experience, on-the-job training, classroom training. We have a great partnership with Downey Adult School. We also work very closely with our community college, and we have a team who supports direct job placement. Our services are available for any resident who's looking for employment, but we have a special interest in serving at-risk youth, veterans, adults with limited skills, persons with disabilities, individuals trying to get off of welfare, and justice-involved individuals. In the last 4 years, you have a breakdown of the different services that have been accessed by residents. We have, like I mentioned, services for adults, services for youth, programs for individuals who have been laid off, known as dislocated workers, and special projects. During the COVID period, we were able to access some funding from the state of California that assisted your local residents in dealing with rent payments, car payments, and other living expenses. They were eligible to receive up to $800 in a grant. Residents in Downey received about $11,200 from this special grant. We have a real passion about working with youth, and we have a partnership with the Unified School District to develop a program called MADE. In partnership with the school district and the Bayer Group, we have served 626 high school students with paid internships as they explored and designed a career pathway into the future. We've taken a lot of pride in launching this program, and we've been working with the program now for several years. In addition, we work on building partnerships within the community. We have a great partnership with the Downey Cares collaboration, which focuses on serving youth, foster youth and their families. We are also very committed to supporting the Center for Military and Veteran Reintegration. We hope to be able to bring some of our services into the center when it's completed. Job seekers are one of our key focuses, but we also work with businesses. Let me move back one more. Sorry about that. Kind of lost my place here, but let me go ahead and, sorry about that. But business services is also a key focus for us. We provide employers with assistance in hiring the individuals they need to fill their day-to-day hiring. or work activity, we also support businesses by providing training to their existing workforce. We have a special grant through the state that allows us to come in and train their existing workforce to build their capacity and help the business stay competitive in California. During the COVID season, we also received special funding through the state of California that allowed us to distribute $47,474 to businesses in your area, and they're listed there on the screen. Each business was eligible to receive up to $10,000 to help them overcome any issues that were preventing them from staying open during the COVID period, and hopefully prevent any layoffs of their existing workforce. So we took a lot of pride in moving that program forward quickly. And you have a few photos of the distribution of the fake check, but they did get their own money. And it supported things like building a patio, helping build a patio outside so they can do outside services, getting them laptops so they could take online services. So these are a few photos of the companies that we served. With that, council member, I appreciate again, I thank you for the opportunity to present this information. I look forward to our continued service to your cities. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
I do, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Yolanda, thank you for such a great presentation, and thank you for the
Thank you.
services that you all provide. It is really a great organization, and we are happy to be a part of it. Having said that, you indicated Downey's population, it only takes advantage of this, or 9% of Downey's population.
Right.
And knowing that out of the cities that are part of this, the 8 cities, Downey is really the largest. Have we seen, what has there been any increase or decrease year over year in the last 2-3 years from Downey's?
Well, we've actually started to see an increase. You know, when we have the little diagram in your folder, so pre-pandemic, you see the number of residents had come in and actually enrolled in our program. So you see 30 adults, 8 dislocated workers, and then the
Right.
numbers have gone up. A lot of the numbers are contributed to the work that we're doing with the MAID project and really getting out there. The pandemic slowed things down for us, and a lot of things closed down, and we're having a hard time getting job seekers back. So our team this year is really committed to getting back and outreaching, seeing if we can get connected with more organizations and really build the bridge. Downey Adult School is a great partnership. We work with them, but again, they slowed down during the pandemic. So we're starting to see the numbers increase, but it's been a slow return.
And now I know I've been aware of the job fairs that
Yes.
have taken place in different cities, and of course, you know, Downey has been a part of that. Now, how do cities get selected, or how do, you know? I'd like to see maybe a job fair here in Downey,
Right.
and really, you know, partnering with our Chamber of Commerce, and because I know that, you know, post-pandemic, yes, our businesses have been hurting, but they've been hurting because they don't have staff. They need staff.
Right.
And so I think it's as you've indicated, connecting them. If we can maybe, yes, get you connected, Vania.
So we are scheduled to do a job fair in Downey. Our biggest challenge is we have 8 cities and everybody wants a job fair, so we've been taking turns. We can probably do about 3 job fairs a year. One of the challenges with our system is that we're measured on the people that get enrolled and get placed on the job. Our funding's based on that. When we hold a job fair, it takes a lot of staff time and commitment, and we don't get credit for everybody that gets a job there. But we're going to start using those as an outreach effort to really let job seekers know, if you don't get a job today, come and work with us. So we're going to kind of change the strategy a little bit, but we're still limited to how many we can actually do in a year.
Sure.
Because if we don't get them placed and then we don't get them enrolled, so a lot of people access our system through the job fairs, but they don't enroll in the program and use our assistance. And if they don't enroll and we can't demonstrate to the state the placement and the outcomes, then we're at risk of losing funding.
Sure.
So that's part of our challenge. But we've made a commitment to each city. We're going to keep holding them in order. We have Downey is scheduled for 2023. So you will have a job fair here next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will be reaching out to the council, to the chamber.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions?
Thank you, and I can attest to that. Every city does want to have a job fair. We constantly mention it at our policy
Yes.
board meetings, how we want to have a job fair.
I can imagine how labor intensive it is, and certainly it's not an easy thing. It's many hours and preparation, et cetera. And so,
And the
how
team.
we can make it more successful and make sure that it's definitely worth the time invested. We'll do everything we can, through
Yeah,
different
counts-
social media platforms, et cetera.
And we
Right,
do share it
definitely.
all on social media, so whenever there's a job fair outside the city of Downey, like the city of Paramount, it's shared on our social media page as well.
And it really does. It is a partnership with the city and the chamber, because without your support, we can't make it work. Because we can only spend our money on limited, we have directives on what we can use our funds. So without the support of the city and the chamber, it's difficult to run those. So we're looking forward to that partnership, and it'll be an amazing job fair, I'm sure.
Well, Yolanda, you have our new president of the Downey Chamber and the executive director, so
Yes. Ben.
make the connection.
Ben Sandoval, who's part of the key driver between those, on those job fairs, he will be connecting with them. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you,
you.
and it's nice to see you,
Good to see.
Yolanda and Ben and everybody else. It's nice to see you all here at our council meeting. I know this was something that we also discussed
Right.
at our meetings, where have you come in and do a presentation so that the Downey residents know who to reach out to. So I really
Thank you.
appreciate you being here.
I appreciate being here, and I'm looking forward to connecting with your staff so we can build those bridges and getting the customers to our services. We'll see you next week, Bob.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I will now take public comment on agenda, non-agenda, and consent calendar items next. Before we begin the public comment period, I would like to remind members of the public that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Copies of the meeting rules are located in the back of the chambers. The city council acknowledges the right of the public to address issues that are within the city's jurisdiction and invites the public to do so during the city council meeting. However, this right must be balanced with the need of the city council to conduct the public business in a fair and efficient manner, free from disruption or disturbance. Members of the audience who wish to address the city council during public comment are reminded that the city's meeting rules prohibit yelling, whistling, booing, screaming, and any other outburst that disrupts or disturbs the meeting. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts persons who are addressing the city council. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts council members while they are speaking, and any other conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Members of the public violating the city's meeting rules after fair warning shall be removed from the council chambers. I remind the audience that pursuant to Penal Code Section 403, it is a misdemeanor for any person to willfully disturb or break up a public meeting. Those violating Penal Code Section 403 may be cited accordingly. Unless modified by the mayor, each speaker shall have 4 minutes to address the council regarding agenda, non-agenda, and consent calendar items. Pursuant to the Downey Municipal Code, the public comment period is limited to 30 minutes. I remind speakers that your comments be addressed to me and not to any other council or staff member. City Clerk Duarte, have you received any written public comment to be incorporated into the record?
Yes, Mayor, we did. We received one written public comment from Mr. Charles Gerlash, and it is in support of item number 11 on the consent calendar. That is all, Mayor.
Copies of the written public comments received are available in the back of the room and on the city's website for members of the public. I will now entertain a motion and a second to receive and file the written public comment.
So
Is there-
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Please vote.
If I could just comment.
Yes.
I just want to thank Mr. Gerlach for bringing the issue to our attention over time, and let people know that when they do bring up things that we were doing, that just like, why are we doing this? We suddenly looked at it and came up with a reasonable solution that helped the council and the public. And yes, I'll be happy to vote now.
Okay.
But I just wanted to thank Mr. Gerlach for thanking us for doing this, since he had been very vehement about what we were doing, he thought wrong.
Madam Mayor, I need to abstain from,
Oh, this is only for to receive and file. the
receive and
written-
file. Okay, because I see now voting on consent.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
were we voting on?
Yeah.
It wasn't on the right spot. You can, let me start the vote again, and if you can please vote
Receive and file.
to receive and
okay.
file the correspondence. The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. Members of the public wishing to address the city council may now come and forward and form a line. Each speaker shall have 4 minutes to address the city council. Hello.
I know the average age of death for an American homosexual man is 41. There are high rates of alcoholism, tobacco use of illegal drugs, promiscuity, sexually transmitted disease, including acquired immune deficiency syndrome, and suicide in the homosexual community. And now I know there is a new disease ravaging homosexual men, monkeypox. Truly it is written, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Proverbs 14:12. Homosexuality and abortion are two things which, if universally practiced, would result in the extinction of the human race. I know there are those who will accuse me of hate speech. I will only say this in my own defense. Speaking truth to power does not constitute hate speech.
Thank you. Next.
So item 11, as some of you may not be aware of, but let's talk about the Bureau of Fraud and Corruption Prosecutions of Consumer Protection Division. Maybe that's the reason why item 11 is on the agenda, because let me read into the record. Regarding the city, thank you for your recent inquiry to this office. Your correspondence raises an issue of possible deceptive or unlawful business practices by city. The investigation of complaints of this kind is initially handled by the Contractor State License Board, Intake and Mediation Center. Duh! As a result, I am forwarding your complaint to the agency at the address below. The address for the record is Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, Public Integrity Division, 211 West Temple Street, Suite 1000, Los Angeles, California, 90012-213-257-2475. So if you believe, or you come to the understanding of believing that this fucked up city is violating a Brown Act, or this fucked up city is fucking with your right to speak and be heard under the First Amendment without restrictions, without a threat, and without harassment, then you have a right to say so. It's free speech. Now, you're not here to make a threat. Otherwise, that is not free speech. But if you're here to call some fat bitch what she is, or fat cunt like Janice Hahn what she is, and say that the governor's a stupid motherfucker for allowing inflation and the disruption of your lives in your own neighborhood, think about it. That's the reason why. So I'm going to place this into the record, Mommy Pacheco, because it's apparent that some assholes in our government, especially local government, at the district attorney's office, don't know shit about where to file this paperwork.
Just a minute,
And
just a minute.
it's just
Mr.
terrible
Herman.
that we
Can we
have to
stop the
have
clock?
all these stupid
Can we stop the
dumbasses.
clock? Mr. Herman,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Herman, hold on just a minute.
Yeah, what's up?
Ma'am,
Excuse me,
what's
this
wrong?
language insulting me. How long I will listen to this? Like, there was inappropriate beach, fucker, soccer, and all of that. Is this okay? This is a normal
No,
thing?
I said
Yeah, that's
fucking
normal for him.
Han.
Madam City Attorney, can you please explain?
Yes.
Explain it to me, because I think it's insult to stand here and listen to inappropriate language.
We apologize that offensive language is used in the meeting. People have their 4 minutes to speak to the city council and say what's on their mind. We have rules of conduct, and if the rules of conduct aren't followed, that there are remedies for that. But at the moment, Mr. Herman is speaking to the public under public comment. So we apologize that there's vulgar language being used that's offending you.
And I just want to add upon, it's because of his First Amendment rights. So I also apologize for the language that he uses. It's unfortunate that he has to conduct himself in such a manner, but we have to allow him to speak.
And we also ask that you please don't yell out during the meeting, because everyone's entitled to their moment to speak. Thank you.
Now, you see, Mommy didn't give
Thank
the
you.
person behind
Okay.
me a warning.
Mr. Herman, go.
There was no warning, you see. Only a white nigger like me is warned multiple times in a public meeting for simply speaking out. Well, the rest of those wetbacks and fucking niggers get to interrupt while I'm speaking. And I'm gonna read it into the Ninth Circuit overturns a conviction of threat against Obama. And this is specifically a docket. Regarding Obama, fuck the nigger, he will be having 50 cal in his head soon. Posted at 1:15 a.m. and shoot the nig, country fuck for another 4 years. What nig has done anything right? So this docket is free speech. Now, you may not consent to free speech because you're too embarrassed to go to a library and research this type of grammar that is spoken in the courts, where you get a fucked up judge with a fucked up attitude, with a fucked up DA, with a fucked up cop, making our situation worse. Why is it always black people put in jail first? Why is it always minorities put in jail first? Because Mommy Pacheco wants to be the 64th Assemblywoman. That's the reason why. A fucking stupid bitch wants to take advantage of our First Amendment right by interrupting us, censoring us, and monitoring our free speech. And by the way, Mommy, I was at the Ola Restro Bar hearing, and this is the shit they posted. This is what they posted here at the goddamn fucking stupid meeting. Fucking stupid meeting, and the issue is, where's the fucking parking for the disabled and the seniors? It only has one parking. This is bullshit. You need to figure this shit out and get...
Time's up, Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman. This is your warning, Mr. Herman.
California 90241. I'm submitting it into the record.
Please, have a seat.
What's that? I'm submitting it all into the record, Mommy.
Please sit, Mr. Herman. Again, I apologize for his profane language. Unfortunately, this is the way he conducts himself. Not very professional, but we have to allow it, so I apologize for that.
Okay. My name is Downey. I live on Pico Vista Road, and we've been having trouble with that drone flown by James Garda. He no longer lives on Pico Vista. Right now, he's living in a trailer hooked onto a pickup truck across from Camper World. Used to be the Cadillac dealership. It's a vacant lot. He's on a side street there, and he's still flying the drone in our neighborhood, day and night. He's been harassing us for over a year. We need that ordinance passed. I don't know where it's at. You know, I got an email from Claudia today, and I emailed her. I hope she copied you on my email. The homeless situation that he's with, you know he's passed. They know he's passed. He has been convicted for dealing drugs in the past. I can't say anything about the future. But anyhow, the homeless situation along the San Gabriel Flood Control Channel, all the way from Telegraph Road to Firestone Boulevard on the Downey side. Underneath that bridge, there's 5 freeway bridge. There's probably a dozen tents. They burn fires underneath there. They had a fire under there Saturday. The Downey police
Fire Department and the Santa Fe Springs Fire Department both responded. The smoke was coming up over the 5 freeway. They couldn't even, the traffic had to stop. That's how bad it is. What has happened, people have dumped trash down there, and this is not just private people, this is commercial. They've dumped tires. Just in the last week, I'll say probably 6 dump truck loads of tires have been dumped under there. The tires was burning this past Saturday. This is almost a weekly occurrence on the fires. If you go north of Telegraph Road on the same side where the sheriff's patrol and where the county fire department takes care of that, there is no homeless, no weeds, and no trash. It's just from Telegraph Road to Firestone Boulevard on our side and on the Santa Fe Springs side. And also, there's a rubber dam just on the other side, on this side of the 5 freeway bridge that holds the water back because during the rainy season, they hold the water back to sink into the ground for the aquifer. In front of that, there is a pit. It's a concrete pit. It's 14 feet wide by about 50 or 60 feet long. It has got stagnated green water in it. There's dead birds, dead animals in it. It's floating there. I brought this up for the last 3 council meetings. No one has addressed it. It's got to be a mosquito den. And I sent Claudia the information today. The flood control district out of Southgate, I gave her the telephone numbers. We're not getting anything done on this. And there's weeds along that flood control channel. There are tumbleweeds that are bigger than my truck, and they're dry. If they catch fire, our houses that border that flood control channel, we're going to have a problem. Maybe we'll lose some houses. And the fire department used to go through there and make everybody's, keep the weeds down. But, this is the flood control district and Caltrans. They both need to address this situation. Right now, nobody's bothering the homeless. They do whatever they want. They're up day and night. This guy with a drone has been bothering us for over a year. Where are we with the drone ordinance? This is all I got to say, but I've been here for, this makes
Thank you,
my
sir.
8th city council.
Thank you. I'll address it, but we have to let everybody else speak.
Good evening. Well, we have a lot of issues, looks like. But I will start off by saying Romans 1:28 and 32, when it talks about homosexuality, in Romans 1:28 and 32, 28 indicates that God has given them over to a depraved mind. They've no longer think of God in their mind. That is a mental illness. And not only those who practice such things, but those that give hearty approval in verse 32, they suffer from the same mental illness. It is a mental illness. And it affects the way you think. If your frontal cortex and your amygdala get overworked and overstimulated, you start doing things very irrationally. You may think you're a guy and you want to marry another guy or something like that. That's irrational. There's nothing normal about that. It is a mental illness. And then it extends through, like even in city councils. Some people can't decide whether they are a boy or a girl, when science tells us that you're either born with an XX chromosome or an XY chromosome. That isn't that hard to figure out. I mean, it's not. You're either a boy or a girl. But now, we've got a mayor, Blanca Pacheco, who wants to be the assembly person. And our mayor is getting endorsements from Gavin Newsom, Alex Padilla. They're coming out early. Maybe they need to catch a little momentum here. But now the mask is off. The mask is off. And the interim city manager can leave. He's from Adam Schiff's district over there, the serial liar from Burbank, you know, of Russiagate fame. We know where those values are at. Our mayor is opposed to the George Gascon recall. She had plenty of time to stand up and support the recall, but refused to. Our mayor is opposed to the Catherine Alvarez recall. Had plenty of time. Wanted us to respect Catherine Alvarez, even though she's been a two-time thief and a felony welfare cheat and an absconder. And cast a deciding vote to make District 3's representative the mayor pro tem. That's where this town is going. It's not a decline, it's a collapse right now. It's on fire because of the leadership that is being occupied in the mayor's seat. Our mayor believes that a male can turn into a female. Our mayor believes a female can turn into a male. Our mayor believes that it's okay for a transgender man who thinks he's a woman to go into the same bathroom with your 10-year-old daughter. That is amazing. Nothing normal about that. Our mayor supported the lockdowns wholeheartedly, parks, schools, vaccine mandates. You couldn't even go into a restaurant unless you had a vaccine card. And then we found out from Dr. Birx that the vaccines they knew they didn't work. But our mayor went along with it anyway. But closed down our churches, and she sits here and laments the fact that people have a First Amendment right, like it's some burden or something. Yeah, it is when you're trying to shut everybody up. It's not going to work. Thank you.
Thank you. And before you leave, I did want to mention to the Downey resident about the drone ordinance. I know our city manager, I know you probably have to leave, but our city manager will be contacting you. And we are working on that drone ordinance, and hopefully we can reach out to Caltrans now that we have an ambassador that we can reach out to. Hopefully we'll get that situated too. I can't allow you to speak additionally, but believe me, our city manager will be in contact with you. And I know you've been in contact with our council member, but I did want to mention that before you leave, if you had to leave. But I do have to take the next speaker.
Yes.
Clerk controls their statement.
Okay.
Claudia has her number.
Okay.
Yes, no, and just to wrap it up, they've been copied on those emails, so, and every reply, they've been copied on it, okay?
Thank you. Okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay. My name is David Galloso. I'm a Downey resident. I live over here on the northern part of Downey, right before Telegraph Road. And the reason I'm here is to address a problem that our neighbors are having with a taco place called Tacos de Goyo. Currently, this place is closed. They had a fire violation. They almost burned up the place. I mean, they jeopardized our neighborhood as well. But I'll talk about the problems one by one. The first one is parking. When this place is open, we have no parking. Our neighbors, we have to be scrambling, moving cars, reserve spaces on our own homes right in front of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. All kinds of trucks park in front of my house. Semis, we got pictures right now. They're going to be available. There's people parking in front of our homes, having picnics, eating there, and then throwing their trash everywhere. I mean, if you were to take a ride right now by a neighborhood, you would see how beautiful it is. This is how it was more than 5 years ago before that taco place came along. So this Tacos de Goyo must not reopen again. They not only they are making their business at our expense. I mean, what I mean is they have no parking, they have no restroom. We have found people defecating and urinating in front of our house. Now, yes, it's this horrible. It's this bad. Our neighbors called the police. They didn't do anything about it. Nothing was done. They said, well, we have to witness it. Somebody had a video from far away, and they're like, well, we can't do it. I don't know how you're going to witness this in person, right? Another thing is, you get all these characters from outside the neighborhood, and they're not exactly good people. I mean, they come here, they burn tire, rubber. My street, my home is right at a cross at two streets where it makes a triangle. There's a big area of asphalt on the street, and they make donuts right here. If you tell any of these people anything, they are very aggressive. I mean, these people will not take any talk. You tell them, hey, can you not litter right here in front of my house or have your picnic or anything like that? Well, they will probably just tell you to F off, pretty much. They've told my wife, who is next on speaking, we don't want any confrontation, but we want something done about it. We don't want this Tacos del Goyo to reopen anymore. I mean, it's wrecking our neighborhood, our peace. We shouldn't even be here for that. We should be here for other things, maybe more important. A nice neighborhood, peaceful, tranquil neighborhood it's all around Downey, and we have a right to have that. We shouldn't be come to call the police, fight with the owner. We try to compromise with this guy, the owner, and so we asked him, look, he speaks my language, I speak Spanish, so I told him in Spanish, I go, it's in your best interest to help us out here peacefully. Why don't you have someone pick up the trash and monitor the situation, you know? And we can probably work something out. Well, he probably did it for a few days just to shut my mouth, and then he pretty much just say, like, screw you. So the guy is not even willing to do that, which I think it's pretty BS. I mean, and another thing is, I am not exactly sure, I'm just speaking for what I heard, that he has a friend in City Hall. So I don't know, but every time we came here or call the police, they always side with the guy. They tell him, well, you don't have to listen to them. Well, guess what? He won't listen to us. He thinks he has the power because he has the police or the city with him, so he'll just tell us F off, pretty much. And we don't want this place to
Mr. Herman, please sit.
There's a few neighbors over here. Some of them were not able to make it, but we have a big group, and we will keep fighting this. We don't want that place to reopen. Tacos Don Goyo, please.
So I will probably have you speak with our Public Works Director, because maybe you may need to look into having just permit parking in that area. Maybe even talk to code enforcement, maybe talk to Crystal, or actually also our city manager. But maybe there's different things that we can do to help alleviate that. If street takeovers are happening, hopefully, I'm sure Downey PD is more than happy to go out there and stop the street takeover. So please call our Downey Police if a street takeover is occurring or about to occur, if you notice it. But definitely, I may need to have you talk to Public Works and Crystal. I don't know if our city manager wants to add anything, because I know there's probably a couple of people here that are going to bring up the same issue.
We'll be happy to talk to you at length.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir, can you just tell me what the location is of this business?
It's 8502 Telegraph Road.
Thank you.
It's right near Lakewood, right?
It's next to the Starbucks. Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Elena Les. I live in 8837 Montana Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's the problem, yeah.
Can you hear me well?
Now we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the same issue. So there is a big problem with this place. This place doesn't have appropriate conditions to run its business. For example, at the beginning of this meeting, Mr. Trujillo, sorry if I said incorrectly, mentioned that there is a law, spots for parking must be appropriate to a square foot of the place. But there is a gap in this rule because there's big difference between popular place versus non-popular place. This place was, when it was open, right now, due to fire, it's closed, thanks God. This was extremely popular place. Thousands of cars without parking. I understand place is very small, it's just a kiosk. And for square foot, they don't have to, by law, have parking. But I'm sorry, those 1,000 cars, it's a burden for us, for our neighborhood. All these things with trash, peeing, pooping. Right now we're in an epidemic. There's no way to wash hands over there. All of this is burden on us. For 5 years, this business abusing us. We called police multiple times. Very tough-looking guy would show up and argue with me for 4 hours. And I'm like, oh my God, this is where our tax is going. For this guy arguing with me with a female that only asking, please go to this guy and ask him to cooperate with us. How are we going to keep our neighborhood in decent condition? Are we going to clean trash or something? You need to guys understand, this guy creating us hell on earth, but he has no interest to save situation, because this is not place he lives. I'm a proud US citizen. I'm a proud homeowner. I want to be proud of my street. I don't want my street to be ghetto. And this guy turning my street to ghetto. All this peeing, pooping, threats. If I say something immediately, bitch, fucker, sucker, I will destroy your home, this and that. We don't need any of this. I'm not asking here for favor. We started this meeting from a prayer. So there should be something more than just the law. There should be common sense, ethic, professionalism that is almost never there. From people that we're looking for help. There's more, and we're here not asking for favor. We're asking for protection. Managing city, it's not only collecting taxes, for police doing their minimum, it's more. We are United States of America. Let's make things work. I don't want to repeat what my husband said, but problem, it's not a one-day problem. He was abusing us for 5 years. Every talks with this guy ended up go away, but in very inappropriate language, I don't want to repeat, and stuff like this. Multiple times, I addressed my issue to Public Works that told me, if 75% of your street is not occupied by random cars, there's nothing we can do. What about trash? I did my own inquiry to Mr. LaPlanta. General answer, like, not our business, go do. Like, and another thing, people coming here angry. Why they coming here angry? Because you leaving them alone with this problem. This taco place, taco don't goyo. It's not, should be my problem. I'm just owner of that home. I want to have a peaceful, calm neighborhood. We're here, me, my husband, and other neighbors, to deliver very clear message. Please write this down. This place should not open on my street. It should open someplace where we have appropriate conditions for this kind of business, parking, stuff like this. Thousands of people coming, doing donuts, littering, drinking, picnics, doing drugs. And who's paying for this? Me, my neighbors, my street becoming ghetto. This place should not reopen in my street. This wonderful taco place should reopen someplace where it has appropriate condition for this. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I just ask the gentleman who spoke before, do you guys live on Manzanar? Yes. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I'm looking at the right street sign. Not a problem. I just wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And I know for the speakers that are still in line, Crystal has already provided her contact information to the first speaker, just so that way everybody's aware. Okay, our next speaker.
First of all, sorry for the loss of another brother of the Downey PD with the Monterey Park police officer. Sorry for your loss. Lee Squire, Vietnam era veteran, retired Brady employee of 31 years, Finance Department, private public sector auditor fraud examiner. Mayor and City Council, we the people of Downey and the cities in Central Basin Municipal Water District who are represented by elected board member Leticia Vasquez. Subject, Superior Court ruling against Central Basin and indirectly against the City of Downey. It is a victory for free speech and the First Amendment rights. All public officials owe what is called a fiduciary duty, a legal duty of utmost trust, loyalty, and confidence to the beneficiaries of the trust relationship. Whenever a public official's personal, political, or financial interests conflict with those of we the people and their interests, the people's interest shall prevail. Since city attorney and city manager serve at the pleasure of the city council, it is the mayor and the mayor pro tem who have the final say on agendas. I sent a joint email to Mayor Pacheco and Mayor Pro Tem Alvarez on August the 1st of 2022, asking that a copy of the ruling from the Superior Court judge be included on this council agenda. The judge ruling as to the complaint filed by Central Basin Mineral Water District during April 2021 was dismissed without prejudice. That makes that a public record. And also open to we the people. The ruling against CBMD was a ruling against the cease and desist order from Scarborough Law on the benefit of Downey, or behalf of Downey, to Letitia Vasquez to attack her free speech rights. Mayor, you took an oath as an attorney and a city council member to support and defend the Constitution. Please explain why this ruling was not on tonight's agenda, since we the people have a right to know. Copies of attached Osceola Declaration, 2 Scarborough letters, and the court ruling. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Sure. Alicia? And Public Works is also speaking with the residents in the back, too,
Okay.
just so you're aware.
My name is Christopher Rowland. I live in Manzanar. I am a military veteran, and I'm currently an ICU nurse. And this place has to go. Tacos Don Goyo has got to go. I've met with the police. I've met with Public Works. I've met with code enforcement. Nothing is being done. We now have 7 neighbors here. 3 couldn't make it. What do we have to do to get somebody to do something? During COVID, when I'm working 5, 6 days a week, 12 and a half hours at night, I come home and there's people parked in front of my house with tables and chairs out in front of their cars eating. He talked about the drone privacy. What about people parking in front of our house eating their tacos? That's not privacy? Do we not get privacy? I don't know what we have to do. I sent an email out July 25th. Not going to say who to, still haven't gotten a response. Downey just spent $1.6 million to redo our streets, put sidewalks and curbs. Do you know what's going to happen if that place opens again? And I sent pictures. You have a packet of pictures, every one of you. Look at them. I'm tired of calling the police. They're tired of calling the police. And it's not their fault. They're strapped. I get it. I shouldn't have to call the police for something that you guys can take care of. How many times do I have to call? 2 weeks ago, Tacos Don Goyo had people down there doing construction at 10:20 at night. I call the police. The police come out, they talk to them and say, look, you guys need to stop. They said 15 more minutes. It's now 10:25. The cops come up to me and they said, oh, 15 more minutes. If I was causing that racket at 10:25 at night, they would have shut me down in a heartbeat. Why did they get 15 more minutes? So the police left. I called the sergeant. Sergeant's like, you can file a complaint, you can do a citizen's arrest. 2 police showed back up. Now, between the time the first police and the second police came, the guy's outside steam cleaning his truck at 10:30 at night to say, screw you, I'll do what I want. Second police officers came back. He comes up and talks to me and he's like, oh, okay, we talked to them, they're gonna clean it up, everybody's gonna go home. I'm like, no, I want an example made out of these people. 5 years, we've all had to deal with this. I have an incident report right here because I filed a citizen's arrest. What else do we need to do? Tell me. I've talked to Public Works, I've talked to code enforcement, I've talked to police. This is the 3rd time I'm here talking to all of you about this place. Would you want the taco shop in your neighborhood? Do you want people to poop and pee in your neighborhood? Do you want trash all over your neighborhood? I also put a work order in to have our driveways on the edges of them painted red. 2 months ago, still no response. What do we need to do? Do I need to paint my own driveway? Somebody tell me, because I don't know what else to do. I brought 7 neighbors here tonight to talk to you guys because nobody is helping us. What do we do?
Call me.
Yeah.
I've tried. No, you haven't. Call
I sent an
me.
email July 25th, haven't gotten anything back.
No, give me a call. Give me a call.
You can also email me, and then I'll make sure.
I
Also-
understand the police.
Done through the staff.
Police should not have to respond to something stupid like
If
this.
you want to get it down to the staff, give me a call. I promise you, I will personally deal with it.
Don't let them open. That's what we're asking.
All right.
We don't deserve it. We pay taxes just like you guys. We don't want them in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Oh, stop it, Mr. Herman. You're annoying everybody.
Hello.
First warning in the back.
Hi, my name is Michael Gonzalez. I also live on Manzanar. I just moved there. I'm here to start with Don Goyo as well. Everything they said is pretty much seconding, thirding, fourth thing, whatever it is. It's consistent. I have my own pictures here. I try to not have the same ones, so it's one packet. But if you guys can look through it, I'm sure you'll look through it, and a couple of them will be eye openers for you. There's people that poop. There's people that urinate, mostly urinate, throw bottles, hang out outside drinking. It does draw a lot of bad attention for some reason. It's consistent. It's all day. People come and park. They always have just going to be there for a few minutes. We've talked to the parking enforcement. I try being cool with them. I try, getting to know the police officers. I understand that everyone's strapped. Everyone, it's always limited staff for whatever reason. But it's always like, oh, well, we can't do anything unless we're here seeing it. Well, unless you're here 24 hours, you're not going to see it. And everything they do that's illegal is usually, they're usually gone in 5 to 10 minutes. Not always. Sometimes people park, they leave their cars there forever. Another thing, they mentioned the parking. That's what I caught when you had mentioned this place doesn't have proper parking. There's not even, I don't even believe there's one parking spot dedicated to a customer there. Me moving here, thinking I'm newer to Downey, thinking, Downey's a strict city. As soon as I make calls, things are going to be done. Things have not been done. I understand that from what I've heard, they're on an old Downey city code. And I just don't know how long does that last? To what point is it that their customers' cars have to take up 100% of the street before something's done? I just don't know what to do about that anymore. But I just came here to try to say what I had to say. Also, my situation is also unique. Besides Don Goyo, I also have Arthur's behind me. Me buying the house, I thought it's frustrating enough seeing when I got there, getting this anxiety, getting this maybe, I don't know how to explain it, but pretty much anxiety, depression, just seeing all these people park here, never having comfortable parking, like she said, in front of the house, not being comfortable like everyone else. Everyone else here probably has 2 parking spaces minimum. When you drive home from work, from your hard days of work, you have 2 places. I don't, because learning that they have a drive, I don't know if you guys can hear me properly, they have a drive-through as well. I didn't think a dine-in breakfast place has a drive-through. It wasn't like a Douglas or a Charbroil place. So in my back where there's 2 spaces to park, I cannot park there either, because on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, oftentimes there's lines that line up there, and I can't comfortably be there, so I have to pull up and wait for someone to move, and then I have to ask the person to stop in order to get into my own 2 parking spaces on my property. So I don't have nowhere to park after I purchased a home, nowhere comfortably to park. I spoke with her. I came and tried to handle it. Hey, how do I do this? Is there anything I can do? Maybe put in a driveway on my own accord, something. And she told me there's pretty much knock my house down and rearrange it to where we can make it some other way, because Downey doesn't allow anything, any type of thing that may be affordable in the near future for me to do. So I'm kind of stuck in a position where I have nowhere to park. I can't call no one. If this place opens up again, it's going to be horrible, because I'm not comfortable parking in my own parking spaces. I'm not comfortable parking in front of my house because it's consistent, and I'm the closest one to Tacos Don Goyo. So I have to deal with it the most. I'm the first house people want to park at because it's the closest. And it's just consistent chaos. So I just wanted to come and state that case. And it's pretty sad that, when I spoke with her about it, it was kind of like, hey, well, that's where you bought the house, and it is what it is. And I'm like, okay, I understand, but it's consistently, people parking all over the alley. All 3 sides of my house that are exposed are covered with people parking, people in line for drive-through. If Don Goyo opens up, it's going to be a ton of people there. So I don't understand why this is allowed. I don't know why people can just park wherever they want to, whenever they want to. And that's all. That's what I wanted to state. So,
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good evening, Madam Mayor.
Hi.
I wanted to, this is my second council meeting. I was here, the first time was the last one, and it really did not give a good impression to me about the city. I'm a new resident, and it was just the actions of the council really kind of left me disgusted and made me want to come and speak tonight. So for people that were not here or did not watch the last meeting, I just wanted to give two takeaways that, from my perspective. The first one is about Councilmember Mariel Trujillo, and I thought that what he said to different constituents was very disrespectful, was rude, and when he did not apologize, I felt like he was not man enough to do it. Just the disregard for offending people, it shows that he does not care about a certain type of people in this community, mainly renters, mainly people who are poor. I feel also that he doesn't want to listen to things that he does not agree with. He said it when he said that he doesn't want to listen to people talking about rent control. He said it's decided, but this is an open forum for discussion. It should be. People should be allowed to speak on what they want, what they're passionate about, and what they feel the city needs to improve upon. Because if the city does not improve, it's never going to get better. It's never going to grow and change. So I think that it's the council's responsibility to attentively and actively listen to public comments. And you guys are all free to make your comments after we speak, which you do, and you're entitled, but I feel that dismissing what we have to say because you don't agree with it is not right. And I, again, ask for an apology for the constituents that were disrespected and talked to inappropriately last time. I ask for one from Councilmember Trujillo, from you, Mayor Pacheco, for allowing the comments to go forward, and from the whole council for doing nothing to condemn his behavior. So that's what I have to say about that. I wanted to actually also talk about affordability within the city of Downey. As we know, inflation is really high. Everybody is struggling, whether you're poor, whether you're wealthy, whether you're in between, everybody is struggling to put food on the table, to put gas in their cars, to pay their utility bills, and not to mention doing anything fun. I mean, that's not in anybody's budget now, I don't think. According to a Downey Patriot article from last year, which is actually about the council session on rent control, there was a city report that said over 50% of the households in Downey are renters. So if you're not doing anything to help protect them, that's over 50% of the people that live here you're throwing away. And I know that it's been quoted, Mr. Trujillo wants to make this into like the Beverly Hills, like a cool, hip, rich area. But I mean, how are you going to do that? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, and Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, the city of Santa Ana, Baldwin Park, and now Pomona all have some sort of rent control or rent stabilization and eviction protections. I mean, there's so many people, even in the complex that I live, that are going through struggles with their landlord. They're being evicted, they're being harassed, they're being intimidated, and they're not getting anything done. They're not getting the repairs done. They're living in deplorable conditions with cockroaches, rats, mold affecting kids' health. I mean, I'm sure that none of you live in a situation like that. And I believe that if any of you had any situation like that, what would you do?
Thank you, sir.
right, thank you.
Also, just so you know, Vanya is to my far left. She can provide you with any resources that you need in case you need any kind of resources for landlord tenancy kind of situation.
We've already tried, and there's been nothing.
Okay, all right. Well, the services are there, so reach out to Vanya anytime.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have observed blatant hypocrisy by beginning the meetings with prayers. Where is the separation of church and state? If this council is so religious, why do they not practice what they preach by helping to protect the meek who struggle to survive and live within the city? Instead, the council chooses to help and protect the corporate oligarchs and landowners of the gentry class. Trickle-down contributions in forms of donations/bribes bring about perpetual injustice at the expense of blue-collar workers who rent. I propose to address such inequities by the formation of a renters board with advisement provided by the Downey Tenants Union. The board needs to be comprised of actual renters. Who better to address the needs of renters than other renters? The legal clinic that Mr. Trujillo sponsors once a week is inadequate in terms of availability and legal recourse. It is a slap in the face to the constituents who are seeking legal help with tenant-landlord issues. The legal clinic's true purpose is to serve as a legal referral service where he receives a fee cut of any possible litigation judgments. Where's the ethical responsibility of the council to force Mr. Trujillo to recuse himself? There is a conflict of interest. Please revisit the idea of establishing a true renters board if the council truly believes in representing the renters who vote in the council members. Good evening.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joe Martinez. I'm a City of LA employee, and I live in District 3. The purpose of me being here today is because I'm here because there's a major concern in the area I live in. Paramount Boulevard has become a road for speedsters, day in and day out. If it's in the morning, midday, or night, it's a constantly highway for speed for all these vehicles. And that's why I'm here, because this is jeopardizing the residents who live there, including myself. I've been in contact with Mr. Scott through email regarding this issue, and he believes that there's nothing we could do or nothing possible that can be done. Why? Because he doesn't live there. So it doesn't concern him. My point to this is between Firestone Boulevard and 7th Street, you have about 2,300 feet of roadway that has 3 crosswalks highlighted with street signs. But from 7th Street to Florence, you have 2,100 feet of pure pavement that allows these people to speed day in and day out. Why is it not possible for Downey, Mr. Scott, to do something, investigate, do your research, and do what you got to do to provide these residents some type of crossway to get to Furman Park from east of Paramount Boulevard? I speak to my neighbors day in and day out, and their concern is always the same thing. It's like playing Frogger on Paramount Boulevard, dodging cars, being careful. That's why nobody walks to Furman Park anymore, east of Paramount Boulevard. They'd rather drive there. Why would you drive when the park is no more than 5 blocks away? That makes no sense at all. So I'm asking Mr. Scott, the council here, to please look into something before something very tragic happens to any one of us on any given day. And I would hate to see something like this happen in the city of Downey, especially to one of my family members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lily Gomez. I live on 8827 Meldar. We call it the forgotten side of Downey. We lived there for 23 years already, and I'm here as a mother. I'm here to speak against the tacos del Goyo myself again. I have children. I have small children, and ever since they moved there, I can't let my children play outside. Because the reason why, because all these people that we do not know, they park in our area, they park everywhere, they throw their trash, and not only that, I mean, these are strangers. I mean, mind you, my son has came in running because there's guys smoking weed, eating tacos, and all this kinds of, I don't know what type of people they are, But I, as a mother, I mean, to me, it worries me. It's terrifying, know that we have, we moved to this area to raise our children, and we don't, thinking it's a safe area, and it's no longer safe, So, and not only that, they parked, and we share, there's 2 houses where we live. So we share parking. So I have to park outside. And with all these people taking our parking, sometimes my husband comes in from work and he parks inside, and I have to find parking elsewhere. And I don't think it's fair, because I pay taxes. I live there. This is my home. This is where I should be safe. This is where my children should be safe. And with these people coming from other areas, I mean, it's smoking weed, throwing their trash everywhere. Not only that, they steal our plants. We have plants and we have like cactuses and stuff, and they steal everything. They just throw stuff everywhere. You see trash from the restaurant, they just throw it into our yard. And I have to come out, I have to clean. My husband has to do that too. In front, they leave their trash as well in front of the neighbors. The lady that was speaking here first, I mean, you see all sorts of trash there. Not only that, we also see condoms, and I'm very grateful for the work that you guys have done in our street this past days. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. But we want to be able to enjoy that. And, but having this restaurant there in the corner, I don't think that's going to be possible. So my thing is, my children are in danger every day when these strangers come from other areas, and park in our street, and it's no longer safe for them. My kids used to come out and enjoy, playing, riding their scooters. They can't enjoy that anymore. They have to stay inside. And it breaks my heart, because, I want them to be healthy, and they're always in their tablet and watching TV. I can't have them outside anymore, playing, riding scooters, doing all these fun stuff that children should be doing. So to me, it's concerning. It's very concerning. And I mean, you wouldn't like that in your area either. You want an area to be safe. You want there to be safe for you and your children. So this is very concerning to me. And that's not only that too, we have requested for speed bumps as well in our street. People just cut through there, and it's like they're racing, and the constant donut thingy at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, it's overwhelming, and I'm here to plead with you to please do something, because it's horrible living now where we live, and we hate to sell our home to move somewhere else where we love Downey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es José Luis Gómez y he sido residente de la ciudad de Downey por más de 23 años. Y quiero comenzar felicitándolos por el trabajo excelente que hicieron en nuestras calles, pero al mismo tiempo quiero decirles que eso no va a servir de nada si ustedes permiten que se abra otra vez el puesto de tacos. Y les voy a decir por qué. Yo estoy cansado de recoger excremento, condones, botellas de vodka, botellas de cerveza, se roban mis plantas. Mis hijos no pueden salir afuera porque siempre hay gente extraña. Nunca sabemos quién está afuera. Tengo hijos pequeños. Entonces les quiero suplicar de la manera más atenta que hagan algo.
Señor, ¿le permite al traductor que nos dé un poco? Un minuto, espere.
Good evening. My name is Jose Luis Gomez. I've been a resident in this area in Downey for over 23 years. First of all, I want to start by congratulating you for all the work you have done on our streets. But I must remind you that this will leave us nothing good if this taco place reopens. I am tired of having to clean condoms, used condoms, and defecation of the street. And I want to let you know that my children cannot be outside because there are strangers in the area continuously.
Y también les queríamos pedir si pueden poner topes para la velocidad porque hay gente que pasa a muy alta velocidad y en las noches se pueden hacer donas ahí. Es todo eso.
Also, I would like to ask you if you can implement the construction of speed bumps somehow, because there's people who are continuously racing in that area, and at night especially there are people who also do the donuts. That's what I want to say.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Can you bring your microphone down so we can hear you? Thank you.
Good evening, Council. This is my first time. It's quite interesting, quite a show. I am a longtime Downey resident and a first-time new homeowner as of May. I live off of Thank you. I live off of Dunrobin between Imperial Highway and Washburn. I'm here for two concerns. Well, one thing that bothers me, it hurt my heart when I heard that there was a fallen officer hit close to my home by LA Fitness, which you know is right around the corner from me. It breaks my heart to hear that another fallen officer, Ricky Galvez, and now this officer from Monterey Park, off-duty officer, was shot and killed. I don't want Downey to be known as the place where off-duty officers are being murdered. Please, police chief, do justice. Please find these culprits. Please, let's do justice for the family, their friends, and the police department, and the men of service. It breaks my heart to hear that, and I don't want Downey to be known as that. This should be an awesome city. We are an awesome city. We have our own city police. Let's step it up. Please be your presence known. So my condolences for the department and our loss. I am here because, as I said, I'm a new homeowner. I've painting, my rooms are empty. I've been sleeping in my living room because we've been painting rooms. And at night, it's constant speeding down my street. I was at Porto's. I ran into ex-Mayor Guerra, and I told him my concern. And he said, oh, yes, Mayor Roger Bossmore put in a speed limit, on your street. I'm like, do you know why? He says, well, yeah, because there was a concern. It's known for cars to speed down your street. And I go, wow, because at night, it's like a freeway. I was just concerned. So I'm talking to the neighbors, and they're like, oh, yeah. My cat was run over, squirrels are, found. So I'm here to find out, what do I need to do to get a proposal to put a speed bump? I know that obviously there is a speed sign, there's a speed limit. There is a problem. I know I can get signatures because a lot of my residents are like, oh, they won't do anything. So I'm here to show them that we can do something working together. So please help me, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, ma'am, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, was this Dunrobin between Imperial and Washburn?
Yes.
That's where the speeding's happening?
And they go through Spry Street. There's a stop sign. I'm right next door to an elementary school.
I was going to say, there's an elementary school right
Golden
there.
Elementary
Okay.
School.
Thank you,
which
ma'am.
Officer Ricky Galvez spoke to at our elementary school. My little niece, was in a program that he spoke at too. So
That was a long time ago.
that was a long time ago.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And thank you for coming here. Rest assured, our police department is investigating everything, and they take all these crimes very serious. And it's unfortunate, off-duty officers and even they have been, of course, shot in other cities as well. So it's unfortunate, but I know our captain, our chief, and our Downey police officers
enough.
are doing their very best to keep our city safe. And congratulations.
It's my turn.
If I may add too, we are.
It is my turn. This is
not
not a
just-
discussion.
not just
You're
yet.
Not just yet. There is, staff is working on a speeding ordinance. We've been working on that for several weeks, and this is something that I know many residents have brought to our attention. And we've noticed post-COVID, the donuts and the racing has really taken over many parts of our city. So we are working on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker.
That you take crime seriously, so let's talk about that. I just came from Long Beach. The mayor over there, who's going to be our next congressperson, I walked in, I was going to give my comment, I waved to him, because I want to make sure, hey, it's me, I talked with you on Twitter, and then you blocked me. He left very promptly. That's kind of like so sad. Like everyone gets robbed of the opportunity to kind of talk with him because he can't stand the truths that a potential constituent is saying. Wow. It really reminds me of what's going on here, right? We've had a slow-moving train wreck for 2 years or so, 3, 4, of you people attacking us because of what we say to you, which is the fact that you are engaged in criminal activity. So it's just abundantly clear. I especially want to ask, now that it's coming time to elections, I saw that Ms. Frometa is running for re-election. So are other people. There's 2 gentlemen in the council, Mr. Martinez, I believe, and Mr. Beltran as well. And I think there's other candidates too. Of course, if you talk to the Patriot, they'll only be willing to mention her. But I want to ask, through the mayor, because that's apparently how it's supposed to be, I want to ask, what is Frometa going to do? Because we know that she went on the record. She talked on social media and open public forum about how the city had become corrupted by the mayor in concert with Mr. Trujillo and Ms. Alvarez. And Mr. LaPlante is somewhere there. And then she went outside during the Ojos Locos protest and specifically singled out to the community members who were present that corruption had indeed arrived in Downey, that it had arrived in the figure of Mr. Trujillo. That's what the mayor said. She was the mayor then. Frometa said. So, that's like really alarming for a council member to say that. And so now that it's coming time for re-election, and you just said that you're very concerned about crime, well, Ms. Frometa, through Ms. Pacheco, let's talk about the corruption that's going on here in the city. I received this letter from the district attorney where they allege that you people are not engaged in Brown Act violations. But isn't it the case, Ms. Frometa, that that's exactly what she was alleging? She said, oh, this was planned, meaning that, other council members talked outside of that decision. So that's corruption. That's definitely corruption. And she said it herself. So now that apparently she's running for re-election, according to Eric Pierce, and it looks like there's other candidates as well. I think it's good to have the democratic system where people can run. It's time to talk about that, Ms. Frometa. We don't want our city to be corrupt. If you're making allegations about Ms. Pacheco and Mr. Trujillo specifically, you need to tell the community what that's about. It's time. Because you said to like a dozen people outside that that's what was going on and that was what was happening. And so it's important for all of us to be aware and say no to the mayor and all of her supporters, including that dude over in Long Beach. Boo.
What's that letter you're waving around?
Oh, it's going to be in the record now because you reminded me about it.
Oh, I'd love to. Does the letter say that we didn't violate the Brown Act?
It's making allegations that you didn't violate it, but you're not
Didn't.
Okay.
them who violated
Oh.
the Act. You actually got there because
Okay, let's take a 2-minute break. Let's take a 2-minute break. 2-minute break. We will now resume our city council meeting.
Buenas noches al concilio de la ciudad de Downey. Ante todo, me llamo Bárbaro porque veo que es nuevo manager. Ya me han hablado de usted porque yo manejo un Leaf y lo hago en Beverly Hills. Me han hablado bien de usted. Vamos a ver si aquí puede hacer bien el trabajo como lo hizo allá. Usted, la abogada de la ciudad, ojalá que no sea como la otra, que se fue por el lado izquierdo, no se fue por el lado de la comunidad. Ante todo, quiero hablar del control de renta.
Good evening. I'm Barbaro Rodriguez. People know me as Barbaro, and they know me here. And I want to I see that we have a new manager, and I heard things about the new manager. I hope he does a good job as he did in Beverly Hills. I hope so. And also, there's a new attorney, and I hope the new attorney does a good job and better than the previous one, who took a left wing into things.
Le digo, señor manager, porque yo le doy 3 viajes a un señor que vive en Beverly Hills y lo conoce usted.
I am addressing you, Mr. Manager, because I operate as a driver, and I have given a ride to Beverly Hills to one gentleman 3 times, someone who knows you.
Hablemos del control de renta. Mucha espina para muchas personas aquí, como Blanca Pacheco, como Frometa. Dan lástima que ustedes sean latinos, sinceramente. ¿Por qué ustedes se van para el lado de la gente del dinero, lo que son los realtos aquí? ¿Por qué? Por las elecciones. Son los que le... ¿Para sus elecciones?
Let's talk about rent control, which is an issue that is like a stone in your shoe. Specifically Pacheco and Frometa, why do you take the people's with money side? That's because of the elections. Those are the people who are giving you money for your elections campaigns.
Vamos a pasar al 2019. Cuando la Álvarez no estaba ahí, estábamos nosotros. Vinimos, todos ustedes votaron en contra del control de renta, todos ustedes. Ustedes no se han puesto a pensar cómo está esta ciudad. ¿Cuánta mierda ha entrado a esta ciudad por no poner el control de renta? ¿Cuántas personas trabajadoras se han ido de esta ciudad? Personas que llevan 30, 35, 40 años aquí. ¿Por un 3%? ¿Por qué? Porque los riquillos, los amiguitos de ustedes, los que le invitan a fiesta, a la playa, los que te llevan allá al Doy Estadio a comer hot dog con tu mamá, no quieren. ¿Por qué? Porque no viven en esta ciudad. Muchos no viven en esta ciudad.
Let's talk about 2019. When all of you, none of you had voted for rent control. Why is this happening? Why is this shit taking place? Against all these people who have worked and lived here 30, 35, 40 years. You didn't go with that 3% because you want to favor the people who have a lot of money. The people who take you to Dodger Stadium and eat hot dogs with you.
Vamos a ver, 3%, personas que se han ido. Usted no sabe la basura que ha entrado a esta ciudad. Drogadictos. Homeless, el gobierno le paga la renta. Esto se ha vuelto Easter Ley. Vayan ahí a la Western para que ustedes vean. Reportamos la basura aquí a Enforce 2 semanas, no ha pasado nada. Oye, hay una tumba de ropa de este tamaño así, que me acordé del Easter Ley ahí del Key Road.
We've lost a lot of great people, and in replacement for them, we have trash here now. We have drug addicts and homeless people. On Western over there, there's a pile of trash like this big. 2 piles of them that I recovered in East LA.
Aquí el señor Trujillo, alias Tati, hablando del control de renta, tenemos un screenshot en el teléfono diciendo que no quiera aquí. Estás equivocado, man. Yo seré un guero, como dicen ustedes, como dicen sus amistades, pero yo gano mi dinero. ¿Tú sabes por qué? Yo tenía casa y la vendí. ¿Tú sabes por qué? Porque no me gusta darle tais y regalarle mi dinero a todos los bandoleros y más a tú que eres una rata. ¿Ok?
I'm going to talk about Mr. Trujillo, aka Tati, who has made comments on Green Chat. And yeah, maybe you think I'm ghetto, but I have my money. I have sold my house because I didn't want to give it to you who are a rat.
Tengo 2 trabajos. No soy guero. ¿Por qué? Porque siempre tengo dinero en el bolsillo. Guero. Y como me enseñaron a mí en Cuba, los comunistas les gustan criticar, hablar, pero cuando hablan de ellos, no les gusta.
I have 2 jobs, and I have money. I don't need assistance. And ghetto, well, you know, like the communists who, like in Cuba, where they love to criticize, but they hate it when they get criticized.
Por eso, Trujillo, no puedes hablar de las personas aquí que viven. Aquí vive el que le dé la gana en esta ciudad. Puede vivir gente que trabaja en un restaurante orgullosamente, porque son gente que no son corruptos como tú.
Sir, please direct your comments to me.
Gente que trabaja en Walmart, que cuando tú vas a comprar el agua ahí, vas a comprar toda la comida, son los que te sirven, los que estuvieron en la pandemia, ahí, que ustedes no probaron los $4 de más. Tú, Pacheco, votaste en contra, tú, Frometa, votaste en contra, y son los que le sirven la comida. A ti, Pacheco, que te gusta ir a la barca, esos son trabajadores, los que te sirven tu comida. El cocinero que te cocina para que tú comas y tu camarilla.
This is a city where whoever wants to live here can live here. People who work at restaurants, people who work hard, people who work at Walmart, people who serve you during the pandemic. You didn't approve them. People who, at La Barca, the place where you go and have lunch, they are serving you, like the cook.
Aquí traigo un papel que dice Trujillo que no es corrupto. Trujillo, corte, mes 5/13 de 2014. Aquí este papel se está demostrando que Trujillo es un corrupto cuando entró a esta corte sin tener que meterse, defendiendo a un delincuente que había matado a una persona trabajadora y había dejado a otro inválido. Quiero que esto esté en los récords públicos para que esté registrado, para que el que quiera verlo, para que lo vea, para que él dice que no es corrupto y se le va a sacar más cosas. Aquí está el papel.
I have a document here that will show that Trujillo is corrupt. He said he was not corrupt, but on May 13th of 2014, it was published that Trujillo helped or assisted someone who had killed someone else, and this document will show it.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Mr. Barbosa called Trujillo a rat, and that was improperly read by the interpreter into the record.
Please come forward and you can start your public comment period. Please come forward. And it's. Go ahead, Mr. Martinez. Your time is running.
I want to start off by saying to the city attorney that secretarian prayer was acknowledged as unconstitutional by the Courts of Appeal of California. So I am asking you to stop secretarian prayer now, as I am being discriminated against, and other members of the community. I also want to move on and say, Mr. LaPlante, if he is upset that people are clapping, you need to respect their First Amendment and you need to keep your mouth shut. I want to show my saddest and deepest regrets to see that this council voted to raise the taxes on our community members during a pandemic. Now, as we're entering inflation, That was disgusting. And the fact that you guys are not doing things like rent control or helping anyone else with your programs that are insufficient shows that not only do you not care, but now you're exacerbating the problem for our constituents here in the city of Downey. Next, where is John Askewy? What's the status update? We still don't have any information on where Mr. Askewy is standing in regards to the city, of whether he's lost his job or has had his contract terminated. This council refuses to give an update on the status of this criminal, and we would like to know as members of the public. Moving on, what Mr. Barbosa turned in was a paper talking about a case in which Mr. Trujillo involved himself in a case that he was not assigned to. This came out in Fox News if you all want to watch it. He was not assigned to that case, but yet he felt he could manipulate people in that court case and offer a 7-year plea deal to someone that murdered a young man. Now, in what country does 7 years to a murderer sound rational? What disgusting act is that, and why is everyone sitting next to this man like if he's a good person? He isn't. He's a piece of crap. Mr. Trujillo has, out of his own request, ended written public comment, which has taken the voice of many constituents, even though you guys yourselves voted to have this happen, because the arguments were during your vote that this was good, that this was inclusive. Now you are discriminating against the ADA community and people who cannot make it for various reasons. We are in a pandemic after all. Mr. Trujillo has refused to apologize, not only to the young lady, but also to the individuals who he's challenged to a street fight in downtown. Mr. Barbosa was challenged in a fight in this very chamber by Mr. Trujillo. And while he's looking at me with that stupid face, I gotta remind you all that it was an illegal act that police officers and the chief, not you, because you're not the chief, witnessed here and allowed to take place. That's a special service. That's elitism. That's protecting the rich and powerful and screwing everyone else. Now, when he says that rent control is done with, someone mentioned that more than half of the city are renters. You don't get to tell the community, especially a majority of the community, that their issues are done with. Let me tell you something, Mr. Trujillo. If you think that we are going to stop talking about rent control, you are a bigger idiot than I thought. Moving on. I do want to address the police witness. Actually, I want to skip that and go to the next time. I do want to mention that BB&K was the attorney law firm that was involved in the Bell fraud scandal. Why are we awarding them contracts when their law firm is responsible for fraud in the city of Bell?
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Madam Mayor, City Council members, Mr. Scott and staff, good evening. Vincent Edward Scully, more commonly known as Vince Scully, passed away recently. And in his last baseball game that he broadcast for the Dodgers in the year 2016, he made several comments. Some of them I wish to share with you this evening. He said, "May God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile, for every new beginning a trial, for every problem a close friend to share, for every sigh a sweet song, and a prayer for all the answers you may be asking the good Lord for. May you not be sad that I am leaving, but be happy that we have shared the good times." This ends my comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
So my name is Alfred Tovar. I'm very proud to be one of the commissioners of this great city. I love my city. I did not grow up here, but I always went to Downey schools. As soon as I was able to, came to this city, rented in this city, 2 different places, and then now I live in the beautiful 4th District of Downey. My neighbors and I have been experiencing a problem. I believe we've reached out to Downey Police multiple times. We had kind of a similar issue as the people on Manzanar, issues with parking, things like that. So that's why our neighbors, came together and we voted in favor of, permit parking. And now we have permit parking, and that resolved a lot of the issue. But what we've been experiencing lately, at like 1 in the morning, we'll hear cars speeding down the street. And then we also have people parking outside of our houses at night for a short time, because it's when they're doing things, drugs, drinking, and then we even have people coming and checking our car doors to see if our cars are open. So that's been for like the last 6 nights in a row that our neighbors in our group chat have been sending in the footage from the rings. And so that's just something that I want us to be able to get more patrol in that area, because we've been calling in and we have noticed that they do come. Downey PD is really good at responding, but we're still having the problem. It's always around the same time, about 1:30 to 2:30 in the morning, that they're coming and they're checking, and it's like the same group of people. This is on Newville, so right by Rio San Gabriel Park. Also, there's neighbors on Fostoria that are doing the same thing, because we went knocking and asking them. They're experiencing the same issue, and I think it's something that should be addressed. Also, there's a lot of like drug use in the area, and it's from the riverbed. They're coming down into Rio San Gabriel Park and walking in our neighborhood, and like we'll see them lighting up their pipes, and then they'll leave them there. So it's happened like 3 or 4 times where on my house, it's right on the corner, I'll find crack pipes. And I'll call Downey PD, and they'll say that, and I understand they can't really do anything unless it's happening right then, but we'll find like the crack pipes, the empty beer bottles, the empty liquor bottles. So we kind of just get rid of it, but we kind of don't want to be dealing with that. All of us, I myself have a 4-month-old. And my neighbors, we all have small kids, so we want the neighborhood to feel safe so that they can be outside, they can be doing those things. And another thing is, I'm really thankful for the city council. I know that there's some people here that are not happy, but I am very pleased. I'm very happy with my decision to make Downey my permanent home, and I think that each of you represent, a certain part of this city very well. And thank you for everything that you guys do. I used to think that I want to be up there, but damn, it's hard what you guys do, and you guys make it look so freaking easy. You guys really take the heat well. So thank you guys for what you guys do to the city, and thank you, Downey PD, for being so responsive to the problems in our city. Thank you.
Well, Alfred, never say never on being up here. Maybe
That's
one of
right.
these days.
That's right.
And
It's very difficult. You have to deal with ignorant people.
Yes.
I did
Alfred-
want to mention too, maybe we
Yes.
can have some extra patrolling, Captain, maybe we can have some extra patrolling on some of the evenings. And then we can always chat, maybe create a neighborhood watch group, maybe with, okay,
Madam
good.
Mayor, if I may, I did receive an email from one of your neighbors, Alfred, and I know Captain Lochner replied to that email, so I'm well aware of the particular house that seems to be an issue, and so that's exactly what the communication was earlier today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Before this next woman speaks, I like to remind everybody that you have a First Amendment right, but so do we. Come on, bring it, mija.
I'm sorry, you're talking to me?
Okay, let's keep some decorum. Let's keep some decorum.
Freedom of speech, mija.
Let's take
Freedom of speech.
2-minute break, 2-minute recess. Let's 2-minute
was
recess.
rude.
2-minute recess. Okay, before then, we're gonna reconvene the city council meeting, but before I will allow the next speaker to come up and speak, I do want to remind the council or the members of who are in the audience to keep decorum. If there's any just a second, ma'am. If there's any outbursts, I will give a warning. If you continue, I will clear the council chambers. So I remind everyone, let's have the speaker speak without any outbursts. So ma'am, you may proceed forward and you may begin your public comment period.
I thought it was Mija. What is it that you're concerned about? That I'm gonna speak the truth or what?
Please
You trying to
direct
silence- I'm not
your
saying the
comments
name.
to me.
I'm not saying names, okay? What is it that you're concerned?
You can look at me.
That I'm gonna go ahead and say something to you?
Ma'am.
I'm not you. I'm very educated,
Ma'am,
okay?
I'm over
I have
here.
a bachelor's degree,
ma'am,
okay? So there's no need for you to go make an outburst like you were doing right now. You're very rude and not educated.
Ma'am.
You must have something behind you to be concerned about. So as I come here supposedly peacefully, but I'm not here peacefully. I think what's gonna happen is that I'm gonna educate a little bit. I'm gonna educate Trujillo a little bit. So far that you have that restaurant down the street, every night or in every that restaurant closes late. So every 1 o'clock in the morning, there's condoms that are used outside. There's nothing being properly done, as in cleaning up that area, that street, especially the restaurants up the street. Everybody F's in the back of that parking lot. That's you call us ghetto. You're ghetto. You brought that shit over here. You brought that crap over here. That stuff was not that community was not like that. Our community wasn't like that. Everybody's community wasn't like that. You brought this over here. You yourself brought this over here. You made it worse, sir. You don't even live. You didn't even used to live here. You used to live somewhere else. For you to sit there and tell us people to go back to their community or where they don't belong at, you know what, sweetheart? This is our community. It's not yours. It's not yours. So whoever you decide to speak and say, "Oh, get out of the community, get out of the city," who are you to say that? Get out of our city. It's not your fucking city. Everybody that pays taxes here, everybody that has properties here, that has business here, they belong here in the city because they help you where you're sitting at. Pendejo. That's where you're at. So you can laugh all you want. I'm not afraid of you. You could threaten me all you want because that's what you've been doing for the past couple hours. So don't sit there and act like you don't know what I'm talking about. You threatening me, but it's okay though. I'm not scared of you. The first thing I got on here, you're very disrespectful. That means that you're scared of me. There's nothing for you to be afraid of me. People pay taxes here. They pay a lot of money here, and sometimes they don't get what they want, but you guys do. You guys get a first try. When they call the cops, they don't do nothing. They don't go out there and be like, "Oh, nothing's going on. Oh, it's gonna be fine." What do you mean? What do you mean it's gonna be fine? Where we gotta see it to arrest a person. The guy that was last before me, he doesn't know nothing about you guys. You guys are full of crap. All the stuff that we put up with you guys, especially not passing that mandatory for the rent, and all the stuff that has to do with people that were low income, that couldn't pay the rent no more, you guys didn't help them. Don't sit there that you help people, because you don't. Help yourself. Especially for the guy that stole $65,000 in the city of Downey. He stole $65,000 in the city of Downey, and you guys won't open up to the name of it. How embarrassing is that? And still, you have the ex-attorney named Leva that still used to get paid $300,000 a year. And you guys don't talk about that stuff. That's ridiculous. But then you guys won't talk about Trujillo's little stupid-ass chart right there, where he used to work for Mala Salvatrucha. I'm pretty sure he still does. That's why he's standing where he's at.
Thank you, ma'am. Seeing no other members of the public in line, is there a motion to?
So moved.
Second. So ordered by the mayor. Now is the time for consent calendar items.
Madam
there-
Mayor, I need to abstain from item number 1 as I was absent.
I
Any other?
also need to recuse myself from participating on item 13. I own commercial property near there, so it's a conflict of interest, and I need to abstain from item, I guess it would be 13 as well? 5, I believe. 5. I own residential property near there. Thank you.
Any other?
Apparently, since I wasn't even on the council on August 10th, 2021, it might help if I don't vote on the minutes of a meeting I didn't even bother to watch. And since I was absent from the last meeting, the three of you who were here will need to approve those minutes.
Thank
So
you.
I'll be abstaining on item 1.
Thank you. Before I entertain a motion in a second, I will read the titles of the ordinances being introduced this evening. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Downey amending Section 2100 of Chapter 1 of Article 2 of the Downey Municipal Code regarding the time of regular City Council meetings, and an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Downey amending ordinance number 2022-1478 to fix a numbering error and renumber Downey Municipal Code Article 4, Chapter 13, Food Handlers, as Chapter 14, and retaining existing Article 4, Chapter 13, Targeted Residential Picketing. Is there a motion and a
So
second
moved.
to approve the consent calendar in a second?
Second.
Please vote.
Alicia, mine is not coming up. Oh, there we go.
The consent calendar is approved with Councilmember Frometa abstaining from item number 1, Councilmember LaPlante abstaining from item number 1, and Councilmember Trujillo abstaining from items 5 and 13.
Thank you. City Manager, next up is the City Manager and staff member comments. I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to make this very quick because I'm going to pull it. This last week, I provided the City Council with a list of potential priorities for the period of time that I'm going to serve as interim city manager. And I think it's a good idea, given that it's a short period of time, that the City Council set priorities for those items on the list. I think what I have found, and I see it in action tonight, is I find a City Council that really very seriously wants to get a lot of things done, and I fully respect that. And setting priorities on a list that I think, frankly, you want all done is probably a pretty difficult exercise for us to play. So I'm going to rethink this a little bit and come back with a little different approach on it. And I think I've come up with some other ideas on different approaches I need to follow in trying to get this workload done. And so we'll have a chance to have a further discussion. And the next time I'll put it on as an actual agenda item, either that or I'll talk to the mayor about possibly doing a special meeting or study session for that discussion. So I think for tonight, we probably had enough, and I'll hold this over. Okay.
Thank you. And for the members of the public who are still in our council chambers, thank you. I know it was a lively meeting. And for those watching us over YouTube, thank you for participating in your city council meeting. We are going to adjourn the meeting in the memory of the following individuals: Jerome Jerry Wetstein, singer and actress Olivia Newton-John, American sports commentator Vince Scully, Sergeant Matt Lewis, 25-year veteran of the Riverside Police Department, killed in an off-duty accident, Monterey Park police officer Gardiel Solorio, fatally shot while off duty, and all the lives lost due to COVID-19. A moment of silence. The time is 9:08 p.m. Meeting adjourned.